Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining with me live or joining with me later on. I'd just like to connect with you the way that I've been taught, which is to contact the breath in the lower belly, which connects to spirit and guidance and the whole of the self, the whole of oneness. The whole of joining with all of creation, the whole of choosing to experience a particular type of frequency or vibration, I would call it. And you may notice that I instinctively have a desire to connect with you in this way, in a way that involves using what I call light language or hand movements, which tunes me in to the field that's being created here. And when a question arises in my awareness about the nature of reality, the breath, and what has been called in the Way of Mastery teachings, feeling communion, which is a felt sense of connecting with the greater wholeness, the greater self, and allowing that question to brew or percolate, just like you would put a tea bag in your cup of tea, in your water. You allow the breath to brew the question within awareness. And the question that I was asking, because it has arisen over the last few days with various different things I've been seeing in myself and witnessing online, various different teachers giving talks about the nature of choice and what we actually experience, how much of that is really about our choice and how much of that is something that we feel like we have no control over. We have no power to change it. Which brings me to my next question, which is quite important, is that if there was no need to have control over what we experience as a consciousness that involves what we've called body in space and in time, if there was no need to control that experience of being that being in space and time, whatever happens is okay with me. Would there actually ever be this need to dictate and tell the world what it should be for me, what the experience should be like, what the circumstance should be? if you go underneath the desire or need has quite a different quality to desire, especially when desire is completely immersed in the qualities of the heart. Where there's a need to control a perceived outcome, there is always a fear. And in my understanding, in my learning, from my own direct experience of this pathway, every time there's ever been an urge or a need to control what I think is going to happen or what is happening right now, it's always because there's a fear underneath it that I'm not capable, I'm not supported, I'm alone, I'm not safe. There's so many beliefs underneath all of that desire to control the outcomes and the events of our lives, what we experience. We think, we believe that the actual experience of something is what causes the fear. In the teachings of the Way of Mastery, Yeshua, Jesus, tells us that nothing is caused from an external world coming into me or pressing down on me. Everything is coming from me, from my choice. And when that choice is coming from a desire to experience a particular frequency, a particular set of frequencies that involve an idea of myself as being a separate being, a person, an identity as a person in space-time. When all of my awareness funnels into that, out of that, the worlds of my experience are what is created. So you could say that I only experience that which I believe in. I only experience that which I choose out of my power to believe in. And if you're at a point in your life now where you have come to this portal here I've created, you've maybe come to the Way of Mastery teachings, either maybe on Facebook or on YouTube or from the website online or from their program Friends of the Way. And you're at a stage now where you truly desire to awaken and you're listening to your guidance. I would ask you now just to connect with that desire to awaken. Connect to your heart. Connect to the inner guidance, the compass. And from that point of stillness, is the place of your union in God. And out of that arises all desire for experience and all choice to experience what you want to experience. And you can never know the exact elements of that experience, the exact pattern, how it's going to turn out. And you start to discover that that is part of the joy of creation. That's what you want to actually experience, is the unknown, is the mystery. And that's fully a choice that's given to you. So there's a lot of fear about how the experience is going to turn out. There's a lot of worry, doubt, and confusion over whether I need to try and control that outcome. But if you look closely at this thought of feeling like everything is fated, I literally have no choice but to surrender myself to whatever is coming up. That would make me a victim of it, wouldn't it? And according to the way of mastery, there are no victims. We are actually choosing to experience life as a separate self, a person in space-time. And that experience can be completely purified of all fear. Imagine what life could be without any fear of a bad experience. Something's failed, or something's gone wrong with the weather, or there's some trauma or catastrophe that's happened. These events that happen are perfect presentations of our inner world, our inner choices and decision making about what we will or won't allow ourselves to experience or see. And they're created from very, very ancient beliefs about who we think we are and what we think our power is, whether we think how limited we think we are. Because we have the perception that what we see with the eyes of the body is reality. And because we have that perception, that shapes what we experience. So before the perception to believe the eyes of the body, there is a belief that way of seeing things is the truth. We've taught ourselves very, very well how to divert ourselves from the truth, to distract ourselves from the truth. The truth is always there, waiting for us to choose for it. So, the way that the teachings go in the way of mastery is that we learn first to connect with our wholeness, our true self, through the breath. And the cultivation of this practice is what almost bypasses the part where we're thinking. And that is just a loop, that's a continuous loop. So that's not reality. So there is choice. There's always the choice to see anew with the eyes of the Holy Spirit, or God, or Shem, or Christ. And the way that we do that is through our surrender, our willingness to let go of who we think we are first in each moment. Breathing into that choice to do that. And then allowing the light to guide us. And all the while we choose for this practice, this is what's shaping our experience of life, life eternal, which is continuous, the continuous momentum of God and creation in us, through us, for us, and for all of creation, for all beings. And once we've tapped into this, there's no return back to previous desires of being a separate self, a small sense of a personal I. This desire diminishes. And as the desire for that separate self diminishes more and more and more, greater and greater shifts occur in consciousness, which affects everyone. So the more that you allow your own light to shine, what God gives to you by surrendering your idea of yourself, the more that you can see actually all of it that I experience is coming from my original choice to continue what my heart's desire is, which is to awaken, to let go of a limited self, which is what Yeshua calls a dream of separation. It's an illusion. To let go of my idea of an I, a me, myself, and mine, and to open to all that is, or the I am presence, which is always here. And that is what's creating our experiences. And when there's no choice made from the separate self to desire a perception, to want to think about that experience as being meaningful or valuable to that sense of personal self, a lot of that sense of personal self, will drop away because it has nowhere to land. Already has been created new neural pathways, new pathways in consciousness, and expansion out of old and limiting beliefs. So I'd like to ask you to welcome that sense of liberation that comes from choosing for peace first, which is always a choice, always. And from that choice springs our experience of life. And from the choice of releasing what the mind dictates to me about everything, what I think it is and what I think it's for, and then insisting that my ideas, my perception is correct, is the truth of reality, releasing that thought, saying to myself a little prayer, yes, I have believed that. I have believed the things that the mind tells me about reality, and I have been afraid. I have been very afraid of things that I perceive to be absolute truth. And then the mind has made a story out of that narrative. And I've followed it. But now I see it came from me first. I chose to believe in a separate self. I chose to believe in me, my personal sense of self first. And I didn't let go of that. And so I experienced what the mind might tell you is an undesirable experience, something going wrong, something bad happening, which is amazing because it's just the start of learning to see things differently and becoming curious about these things. Is a key in the door to learning about yourself, to self-knowledge, that I'm the creator of that experience. It must be coming from me. So what is it about? What's causing me to experience something that I find difficult or challenging? And also there's the freedom that comes from allowing everything through as a channel. That means not judging what arises. This is coming in the second instance of faulty perception because there's 3 levels of perception. The first is what we see with the eyes of the body that we think is reality. The second is our thoughts about it and our judgments and our opinions and our assumptions and conclusions. And the third is our then projecting that out onto the world and insisting that those are true. um, so the second release, the release from the what you do in your head um, with everything that comes to you. What do I do with that? Can I be at peace with it? Can I go within and breathe and relax and just allow myself to be with that rather than immediately jumping to conclusions and uh, seeing it as something bad that shouldn't have happened? because absolutely every experience can be purified of my belief about it. If I allow spirit to join with me and correct and show me what it was for, what I chose for originally, and how that came into being. And when you see that creation has perfectly served you because you've believed something, and through that unconscious belief, you've made it come into manifestation in order to have a particular experience. When you see that it's perfectly served your choice, you can't help but love it. You can't help but bless it and embrace it and say, oh, I'm the one choosing here. I'm the one with the power. It's such a beautiful release, such a beautiful quality of being in the world. In the world, yet not of the world, which means that I can be here fully embracing, fully loving all of creation as it comes to serve me in what I've wanted to experience. I've wanted to experience fear as a separate self, or I choose to experience love, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the event is, no matter what's arising. I choose love first above all things. The more I keep choosing love, no matter what the experience is, the more things gets transformed, and the purer and purer my experiences of love become. What love would have me experience, what I desire from my heart to experience, it all opens up. It's really, truly such a precious journey. And I ask you from my heart to choose to go within and truly look at how you experience things, what you truly experience. How does that shape your reality? And to connect with that deep, deep choice that's springing from unconscious beliefs of fear about yourself, or it's coming from where you really are, reality, your choice for love. Whether you choose love or whether you choose fear, the experience will always perfectly reflect that, which is a miracle. It's something to be grateful for every moment of the day. Thank you for joining with me.